Ukrainian President Zelensky seeks to receive $30 billion in military aid from the United States in 2025 instead of the planned $15 billion following the signing of long-awaited minerals deal with Washington this week. The United States and Ukraine on Wednesday signed a deal that will give Washington access to the war-torn country's earth minerals and other natural resources. While responding to journalists' questions on Saturday, Zelensky suggested that thanks to the investment fund for the restoration of Ukraine, created within the framework of the agreement signed with the United States on mineral resources, the $15 billion from the United States planned for 2026 can be paid in 2025. The U.S. Congress, under Joe Biden's administration, agreed to provide military aid to Ukraine in the amount of $15 billion in 2025, and the same amount in 2026. President Zelensky wants Ukraine to receive the funds planned for next year this year. Zelensky specified that these $30 billion would be Washington's contribution to the Investment Recovery Fund, while Ukraine will gradually pay its share. Ukraine will start making its payments to the investment fund under the minerals deal no earlier than 2030. It should be noted that the U.S. State Department recently approved the potential sale of training and related equipment for the F-16 to Ukraine in the amount of $310 million.
In the Stavropol region of Russia, drones attacked a military unit of the Russian space intelligence. This was reported by the head of the Center for Countering Disinformation of the National Security and Defense Council, Andriy Kovalenko. Unknown drones successfully reached the military unit of the Russian space reconnaissance known as the Zvezda facility in the Stavropol region. This unit was one of the main stations of the Russian space electronic reconnaissance system. He wrote, according to Kovalenko, this system emerged in the early 1970s and was intended for global interception of signals from satellites, intercontinental communications, and even signal exchange between foreign military facilities. The Zvezda facility is actually a center for analyzing space information, which belongs to the structure of the main intelligence directorate of the General Staff of the Russian Armed Forces. It specializes in electronic surveillance of signals from orbit, foreign satellite communication systems, including commercial ones, the head of the center noted. He noted that today, the Zvezda facility is not only a technical base, but also part of the strategic architecture of Russian intelligence, which is used both to monitor the situation in military zones and to prepare information for information and psychological operations. In addition, it takes part in cyber espionage. As reported on the night of May the 2nd, temporarily occupied Crimea was subjected to a massive drone attack. Explosions were heard over the peninsula. Air defense was in effect in areas near military facilities, and fires were recorded in several places. Temporarily occupied Crimea is considered by Russia as a military base that threatens shipping and is used for enemy strikes against Ukraine. Explosions in Crimea at military facilities are exclusively a component of security. The head of the Center for Countering Disinformation of the National Security and Defense Council, Andriy Kovalenko, said, demilitarization of Crimea is an important component of security in the Black Sea. Russia, like the USSR, considers Crimea as a military base, and this is a direct threat to shipping. Also, strikes are carried out on Ukrainian cities from the temporarily occupied peninsula. Explosions in Crimea at military facilities are exclusively a component of security, said Andriy Kovalenko. His statement came after reports of night explosions due to drones in the temporarily occupied Crimea.
The U.S. State Department has approved the sale of F-16 training and technical support and related equipment to Ukraine for $310.5 million, the Pentagon's Defense Security Cooperation Agency reported on its website. The State Department said it had notified Congress that it had approved the sale of F-16 equipment, pilot training, and aircraft maintenance services to Ukraine. The decision must now be approved by the U.S. Congress. The package includes modifications and modernization of aircraft, staff training, operation and maintenance, spare parts and consumables, repair and supply of ground equipment, support for classified and unclassified software, transfer of classified and unclassified documentation, publications and technical data, conducting research and reviews, engineering, technical and logistics services from the U.S. government and contractors. It is important that the list also includes other elements that provide full logistical support. Earlier, the war zone reported that the United States of America sent decommissioned F-16 fighters to Ukraine. The planes can only be used as donors of spare parts. In this case, a bill on devastating new sanctions against Russia in the U.S. Senate has the support of 72 congressmen. It involves 500% tariffs on imports from countries that buy Russian oil, petroleum products, natural gas, or uranium. In addition, these sanctions would prohibit U.S. citizens from buying Russian government bonds. This was stated by President Donald Trump's key ally in the U.S. Senate, Republican Lindsey Graham. Bloomberg writes. Laws in the United States are made by Congress. The developments are also straining relations between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin, who has been avoiding a peaceful resolution to the Ukraine conflict. Ukrainian Su-27 fighter aircraft has destroyed a Russian command post where the adversary's assault groups were stationed in Ukraine's northeastern Kharkiv region, Telegram channels reported on Friday. The strike was delivered with the help of US-made GBU-62 precision-guided munitions. The video posted on Telegram app shows the moment of the strike and the aftermath of the attack. According to the report in Telegram, Russian troops have been carrying boxes into the facility that was struck by Ukrainian troops after Russian troops gathered in the building. The report went on saying that Russians are gathering units in certain direction of the front to help the assaulting groups. It should be noted that Ukrainian troops have recently scaled up attacks on Russian military targets in Russian-occupied territories as well as in Russia with the use of Western-made bombs. Earlier, it was reported that Ukrainian defense forces struck Bucha airbase of the Russian Black Sea Fleet in Crimea Peninsula that was annexed by Russia in 2014.